Hey guys, what is up and welcome to my channel. It's a Hardback Life. My name is Jordan, and today we're going to be talking about some of my top fantasy slash sci-fi series that I want to get into in 2022. Now, a couple of these series are planned, so I do plan on reading them. But most of these are book series that I just really want to get into this year. So it's like wishful thinking that I will be able to read all of these. And I actually had a huge problem deciding which ones I wanted to put in this video because there are tons of book series that I want to read. So I just narrowed it down to 13. Most people do like a top 10, but I did 13 because I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to add these extra ones because I can. But before we get into that, I wanted to share something that's been helping me keep track of my reading this year, and I'm grateful for it. And that is a a clockwork reader journal. This is by Hannah Azarine, who is a fellow booktuber and actually my favorite booktuber. So when I found out that she was putting this out, with the help of Barnes and Noble, I was thrilled, and I was just like instant pre-order because, yeah, like I said, I support her, and I'm a huge fan of her channel. If you haven't, I'm gonna link her channel in the description so you can go check her out if you've never heard of her or checked her channel out before. But I think the main reason I fell in love with her channel at first was because I was going through BookTube like in 2015. I started watching in 2014, but I think she started her channel in 2015. I can't remember. But like, and around that time, I just wanted to really look up anything on YouTube about the Mortal Instruments because that was one of my favorite book series at the time. And Cassandra Clare was and still is my favorite young YA fantasy author. And Hannah popped up. And so I clicked on her channel, and she was gushing about a Cassandra Clare novel, and I was just like, oh my god, someone who likes Cassandra Clare as much as I do. And so I kept watching her channel, and she's blossomed, and tons of other booktubers that I have grown, that have come to love, have blossomed as well. And here I am doing um, this, which, by the way, this will be 2 years that I've been doing this in April. So, which is crazy. But, yeah. But you guys should definitely get this. This is an easy way of keeping track of your reading. Hannah has all kinds of things in here from, um, like, I've been writing, like, you can't see very well, but and my writing sucks. But this is like a list of books that I've read so far, and she has multiple pages of like um of how you can keep track of your books, and then like you can write down, I don't know, your favorite books, and also just talk about your experience when it comes to reading. And I don't know, just there's just so many different things you can do. And she gives you like ways to incorporate, I don't know, different, I don't know, it's really been helpful for me because like I am very bad at keeping track of some of the books that I still need to read or that I've put aside. So yeah, this has been tremendously helpful, And there's even prompts in here that like help you to decide on what you want to read. So yeah, I'm grateful for this. Definitely buy this journal. I think you can only buy it on Barnes and Noble, if I'm correct. But it's worth it. Okay, so the first book series I'm going to talk about is by an author I said on my channel, and you can go back to many of my videos. I said that I would never read this author's books. And that person is Holly Black, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to read Holly Black. And this is specifically the Folk of the Air trilogy. First book being Cruel Prince, Wicked King book number 2, and then The Queen of Nothing. This is about fair folk, so fairies basically. And obviously the title of the first book called Cruel Prince, because fairies are known to be very cruel and trickery type of creatures, and just very sly. And yeah, that's one thing I love about a lot of fantasy series is they who don't sugarcoat fairies. They basically have fairies being their like how they actually are, which are very devilish kind of creatures. Because I mean, they're part demon, so yeah. But I'm gonna read this hopefully this year. If not, then next year. But I should be able to get through these. I mean, they're all like pretty small-ish. So yeah. The next book series is, I'm gonna say it again, one of Hannah's favorite book series. And a lot of people actually really love these, so I am really excited. That, ladies and gentlemen, is The Raven Boys. That book number 1, yes it is. The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I've heard so much about this series, it's not even funny. Like, I don't know. Like, from what I've been hearing about it, it sounded interesting, but I was like, oh, I'm never gonna read that. I'm never gonna read that. And then, I don't know, just obviously hearing Hannah talk about it again in another video. And then, like, other people, I actually watched a live video of a few, like, very well-known booktubers talking and gushing about it, because they were rereading the series. But, I mean, it was a non-spoiler section, don't worry. So I wasn't spoiling it for myself. But yeah, I plan on reading this quartet hopefully this year. I think it's another one I can manage, because they're all decently sized. The next one, I am super excited because I have the box set. Caraval, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait. Caraval, ladies and gentlemen, by Stephanie Garber, which consists of Caraval, Legendary, and Finale. Or Finale, whatever you say it. Anyway, I don't know much about this series. All I know is that our main character and her sister, I think, are like in this circus type situation, but there's like magic involved, and I don't know, I feel like the sisters have to do something that they weren't expecting to do. I don't know. I'm just going into this series pretty blind, so I'm really excited. And this box set is beautiful. I got it at Barnes & Noble online for only $23, so is money well spent and worth it? I am very excited. The next series is a bind up, and I'm glad I have the bind up because I didn't want to just like search for all three of these books since they're classics. That is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, you guys saw, I think back in 2020, I read The Hobbit at the end of the year for the Reindeer Games Readathon in 2020. Was it 2020? Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like The Hobbit that much. But my friends tell me it, like, with all the tropes that happen in the Lord of the Rings, I will have a better time with the Lord of the Rings than I did The Hobbit. Which is interesting because obviously it's basically within the same world, but set obviously multiple years later because this is of Bilbo's nephew. And I absolutely adore the movies. So, at least the movies for Lord of the Rings. So I'm kind of nervous about this one because, like I said, I didn't enjoy The Hobbit. So, um, fingers crossed. You got fingers crossed. I can't really do the whole fingers crossed thing, but okay, our next one I'm very nervous about because I've heard mixed reviews like crazy, but I've also heard a lot of very positive things. And that is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown, which consists of Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star, which is the original trilogy, part of the original trilogy. I also bought Iron Gold, which is book number 4. I don't have Dark Age yet. I just haven't decided to buy it yet. I probably will, though. Especially since Pierce Brown is, at least from what I know of, he's working on book number 6. So, let's hope he gets that out while I'm reading this series. I know my friends on the Oasis Discord are planning on doing a buddy read for this series later in the year. I might just start this earlier in the summer just to see, because I've been wanting to read this series like forever. I've been told that it's like the Hunger Games but in space. So that's intriguing. So I'm really excited and also very nervous to read this series. Like I said, I'm nervous because like all the mixed reviews. I am super, super pumped for. And that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I have the other 2 books staring at me on my other shelf, like above my dresser. So, this is about a girl named Rin who goes to this academy. She tests to get into this academy, and she passed with flying colors, which really raises suspicion among people. A lot of people think she cheated, and so she already has that against her going into the academy. Also, she doesn't look like a lot of the other people that go to the academy, so she's criticized for that, as well as the fact that she gains this power that makes her even more of a target. I am super excited for this one because it's kind of like fantasy mixed with historical elements because this is set in Hong Kong or can't remember which country specifically in Asia, but it's got a lot of military and historical aspects as well as fantasy, of course, and I'm super pumped for that. I love when fantasy and historical fiction basically come together. Okay, this series a lot of my friends have read, and I'm sad that I have not touched it yet. The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. Now, I think I am going to read this possibly towards the end of 2022, if not 2023. Who knows? It's just because I actually started Shadow of the Gods first, which is a series that is not related to this at all. At least I don't think so. I started Shadow of the Gods, and I need to finish that book. Like, I might restart it and then just push through it, because that's a very character-driven book, and I was enjoying it, at least mostly, but I just DNF'd it for a time. So I'm just gonna pick it back up and get through the dang thing so that I can read Hunger of the Gods, which comes out I think in April. And then after that I think I might save this for sometime summer, or if not by summer, then end of the year read. This series just caught my eye at Barnes and Noble, and this is not a very well talked about series, which is surprising because it just seems like it's going to be epic from what I've read on the synopsis. This is the first book, Duskfall, in the Chaos Queen. This is the first book called Duskfall, which is the first book in the series called the Chaos Queen Quintet by Christopher Hasberg. And this is going to follow like 3 or 4 different perspectives, which I love, following multiple perspectives in a book. And let me just read it to you. Pulled from the frozen sea, pierced by arrows and close to death, Knot has no memory of who he was, but his dreams are dark, filled with violence and unknown faces. Winter, a Tilan woman whose people have long been oppressed by humans, is married to and abandoned by Knot on the same day. In her search for him, she will discover her control of magic, but risk losing herself utterly. And Cynthia, priestess and true believer, returns home to discover her family at the heart of a heretical rebellion. A rebellion that only the Inquisition can crush. Their fates and those of others will intertwine in a land where magic and demons are believed dead, but dark forces still vie for power. That sounds freaking epic. And like I said, this is the first book of 5, and I have the first 3. This is the first one, like I said, and then the other 2 are on my shelf back here. I cannot wait to read this. Like, this is going to be one series that just, I think I might read within the coming months. Because, first of all, each of the covers looks stunning. Like, look at this, you guys. Like, it is so cool. Anyway, this is just another series that I'm super pumped to read, and one that's not really talked about on BookTube. So, I hope to encourage you guys to pick this up. I will say, though, it's kind of hard to find. The first couple books I know are sold at Barnes & Noble. The third one, though, is not. And it's actually not even in their inventory of books. So you have to go to a third party to get the third book. At least that's what I had to do. And I'm probably going to have to do that for the rest of the series. Okay, so these next 2 books I bought because, one, a good friend of mine, Trinity, who is on a fellow booktuber, and I will link her channel down in the description, is she's a fan of both of these authors. And so I decided to pick both of these authors' series up. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Brent Weeks. Brent Weeks Lightbringer series. I don't really know too much about this, except there are people in this book who can control magic by wielding colors. I don't really know exactly what that means, but I think that's a really cool concept. And there's one person who was the prism who could control all of the colors. And it's called the prism. So, yeah, I don't really know much about it, but I'm going to go into this blind. And I have all 5 books now, so I'm going to probably make my way through these books slowly, because, yeah, they're all kind of chunkers. Yeah, so, yeah. The next book is by Trinity's favorite, at least one of her top favorite authors in fantasy, and that is Anthony Ryan. This is the Draconis Memoriam, or is it Memoria? Draconis Memoria series. The first book is called Waking Fire. The second book, I think, is called Legion of Flames, and then the third book is called Empire of Ashes. Now, the first 2 were easy to track down. The third one was a little bit harder for me to track down, but I got it. Thank God. Because I really, really wanted to read this series. Just because, I mean, Trinity keeps, talking so much about Anthony Ryan. And, I mean, I've heard so many great things about him. I mean, he's been compared to Brandon Sanderson and, a lot of other well-known authors. But he has his own, really unique style from what I heard, and it just sounds really good. I don't really know too much about this, except there's these line of people called Drakes who are weakening, and there's 3 different groups of people, I guess, and possibly they're going to go to war. And I don't know. It just sounds really good, so I'm really, really excited to read an Anthony Ryan novel. And I think I might get to this before summertime, because I've been dying to read this. This one I'm particularly excited about. It's called An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. It's a 4-book series. The other books are in the back, called A Torch in the Night, Reaper at the Gates, and A Sky Beyond the Storm, if you can see any of those. I have the whole book series. It's just tucked away in there. Anyway, this series is about a girl named Laya who is a slave, and her brother gets put in jail for being accused of treason. And so she and another guy named Elias, who was a soldier, team up. And she also teams up with these people that are rebels. And she has to spy on this military group. And once she spies on them, she has to take on a whole nother identity, I guess. And the main reason she's doing all this is to get her brother back and to stop this group of these military people, I guess. but she gets way more than she bargained for from what I read in the synopsis. I'm really looking forward to this because it's like basically uh, such a fun sounding book series. Okay, the next series I want to talk about, you guys, is the Legacy Trilogy by Matthew Ward. Again, I'm going to go into this blind. I don't really know much about this, but whenever I go into a Barnes & Noble, I usually see this one. Like, they tend to have the second book. In which I didn't know this was the second book. I thought this was the first one, but this is the first one. And so I bought this one when I was in New York recently. And I started reading it, and I was like, I am so confused. Like, there seems to be, like, a lot of plot holes. And I was like, I looked at the side of the spine here, and I was like, oh, it says number 2. So I was like, okay, I gotta go back to Barnes & Noble and find to see if they have book 1. And they had book 1. And they also had book 3. So I was all set. And so the whole series consists of 3 books, like I said. It's a trilogy. Legacy of Ash, Legacy of Steel, and Legacy of Light. I'm pretty scared though, you guys. Look at these. They're chunkers. They're all between 600 to 730 pages each. So I'm going to have a fun time reading these, but I'm going to be reading them for a while. And the last series that will be on this video is none other than the First Law Trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. This is the first book, the Blade itself, and I also have book number 2 called Before They Are Hanged. And I am trying to get The Last Argument of Kings, which is book number 3. I hope to get it soon. I think I'm going to order it because Barnes & Noble is having a lot of issues with restocking because, I mean, they were like pretty much wiped out over the holidays. So they're trying to rebuild their selection of books slowly but surely. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys, I am going to go because my package for the latest Sarah J. Maas book, House of Sky and Breath, I had to think about the title, just came out today. Or just came today. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm actually going to talk about Sarah J. Maas in my next video and my journey of reading her books and how I've really enjoyed that. So be looking for that next. But in the meantime, you guys, I shall see you later. Bye.